Welcome to Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way. Proactive is the Way is a podcast brought to you by two sisters who dove into the health and wellness industry, one planned and the other by fate. We have joined forces to bring to you authentic conversations about our personal experiences as it relates to managing our health, working within the industry, and taking our combined knowledge to share with you some pearls of wisdom that you can take with you to live the best version of you. We will wrap up our entire season of Designing Your Life Today. Can you believe an entire year has already passed? I'm telling you, folks, time waits on no one.
Not a soul.
Not a soul. But we made the best use of it by working on ourselves for an entire year. And of course, we didn't have to work alone, as we had an amazing audience who joined us, a network of family, friends, and associates who supported us. And today we will get to talk a little bit about our guiding team, our network, and how our network has contributed to our success today. 2 weeks ago, I shared that when designing your life, you don't have to do it alone. You get to engage a multitude of people to help you. And building a network, as I shared, it is so important. It's so important because it helps you to stay current and relevant by showing up. It allows you to tap into resources or acquire knowledge. It helps you to move and enhance your growth at an exponential rate. Truly, folks, your network is your net worth. So let's kick things off, Tiffany, with what does this quote mean to you?
Your network is your net worth.
Your network is your net worth.
So basically, what that means for me is what you surround yourself with is what you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
So like how I was groomed to believe that, hey, whatever it is you want to be, surround yourself with. So from even a very young age, I was competitive. I like sports.
Mm-hmm.
I was in every gym around Dayton,
Mm-hmm.
from Princeton to Roosevelt to Westwood to Moraine City, playing with the guys, never intimidated, getting knocked down, always the skinniest one on the court because I wanted to be a better basketball player. Not necessarily the best, but I wanted to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So I was building a network, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was making myself visible.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel that that particular networking helped you in terms of building your net worth? So you stated you wanted to be better, but did you ever feel, in terms of basketball, but did you ever feel that you were able to work beyond basketball with that network you were building?
Right. So that was like the I shouldn't really say foundation, but it kind of was. But yeah, I think because of what doing that, like when you're networking, what it builds in you, right? It helps you see things like that you're a leader, or that you are a team player. And then you it shows your worth. initially. I don't know if I'm answering that correctly, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well, when you had stated your foundation and you were trying to move away from it, one of the things that came to my mind was it could have served as your foundation in terms of just understanding the concept of networking, right? Because with networking, you have to put yourself out there. And that's
right,
what you were doing. You were in a manner that was not directly but indirectly, you were grooming yourself to be a better networker. So you of course put it in the sense of playing basketball, or setting your foundation, or starting your foundation in networking with basketball, going out, hanging out with individuals who are very good in the sport, picking up tips, picking up tricks, with how to become a better baller. So you were literally building the foundational skills, to not only network in basketball, but to network in life. Right.
right, and just to and not to be like too serious about it, but just because I want this last episode for us to be to have a little bit more impact at the end. But networking, it impacts your net worth because it creates opportunities,
Yeah,
right? It creates it,
absolutely.
it creates opportunities. Um, it expands your knowledge, right?
Exactly.
And it
Yeah,
it
you
it
tapped into
fosters it
those
fosters
resources.
the valuable connections, right?
Yes, yes, that are not only for that moment in time, but can be long lasting connections that help you throughout your life, right? When I
Exactly.
think about that whole quote, network, your network is your net worth. I truly believe it's about this group of people, and if you tap these group of people in the right way, it really can enhance your overall being and the trajectory of your growth.
Mhm.
And while I believe folks, when they hear or hear that quote, they think about it from a career perspective and subsequently a financial perspective. But I tend to look at it from a quality of life perspective. And I say that because, for example, I am a mom, and having kids and trying to enhance their lives, I have a network, another network, not necessarily from a career perspective, but from a familial perspective, to a network of individuals that I tap into for advice, for resources, because really and truly, I value not only enhancing my life, but also the lives of my family, the lives of my children too. Right?
Mhm.
So we understand that building a network, it takes time. All of this takes time. And if you want to have a sound network, you must find the time. So Tiffany, talk to me a little bit about how do you manage fitting in the time to build your network?
You know, now if we're talking about now, that
Mhm.
doesn't work for me. But talking about previous, like talking about the past, that's easier for me to discuss.
Well, what
Um,
about school? Because the school, you have an element of networking. You
you
probably
do,
don't look
you,
at it in that sense.
right? True, true. I am able to branch out and reach out to different people, but I mean, we're all doing the same thing. But um, I'm able to tap into knowledge in different areas of the same thing that we're doing
Mhm.
because there's so many different specialties, right?
Mhm.
Like now I'm with nurse anesthetists, I'm with oncologists, um, I'm with people in reproductive care. So yeah, um, to make time for that, Um, you have to be deliberate about a schedule. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be deliberate about a consistent routine. And consistently for me, what I have been able to do, or what I have been doing for the past 7 years, is engaging academically, or engaging in some educational venture to establish a connection, a networking connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it's kind of difficult to do on um, the type of employment, different employment opportunities that I have had,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I'm a contractor. I'm not there in that manner really to develop relationships or to network, because I don't belong to the organization.
Okay.
So so I'm an outlier. People don't really see me as someone they may want to share proprietary information with. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure. But what do you think that you could do differently within that type of environment? Even though you are a contractor, what do you think that you could do differently in that type of environment to build a network, even if you're there temporarily?
Just paying attention to patterns, providing new ideas with no expectation, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because see, when you're a member of an organization, you start to develop expectations. But me, I can go in, I don't have to have any expectations. You don't have to like my idea, but I'm gonna still share it with you. And I
Mm-hmm.
share freely with no strings attached, because I'm not worried about what the member of the organization may be worried about. Like, oh, my job's on the line. Like, I don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very valuable to be able to do. And a lot of people, they don't look at that as an approach to networking, being able to share information freely, not hoard information, not be concerned with regards to, like you indicated, losing their job, etc. I bring that up because I think it's so important when we're building our network, we have a sense of authenticity
Mm-hmm.
when we are building our network, and that when it comes time for an individual who has to tap into you, or you have to tap into them, that they have a sense of familiarity with you and a sense of comfortability with you as well, so that it feels natural. It's authentic.
Right.
So I do like that. I like that you don't have to hold back, and you can speak freely. Because I think when you want to build a network, you want to have that sense of camaraderie, right?
Right.
Um, okay, well that's pretty good. One thing that I wanted to share about um, building a network and taking time. I think I'm very similar to you in the sense that, well, I am a contractor as well. So in terms of like my day to day, I literally get into my job and I don't get to talk to a whole lot of people. Like
Right.
as soon as I get into my job, it's like nonstop. And so
Uh,
only time that I do get to network is in the morning, when I say hello, or um, during our team meetings, right? Just making sure to be a contributor. However, I don't do that as effectively as I could. And
I don't think effective is the right word.
yeah, I think it is effective because when we talk about networking, we have to be deliberate. Really, you do, because if you don't, it's just going to be a casual conversation with someone, right? With no type of desire to um, achieve anything, without any purpose. And that's a part of networking too. A lot of folks discount is that non-deliberate just building a camaraderie with people, just building relationships with people, because there will come a time when you will have to tap into someone and you don't want it to feel awkward, something that we'll talk about here.
But do you think that with social media and with with so much with the advancing of technology that people actually have to physically network? Do you really need to make those traditional networking connections to build a strong professional network? Or could you just be, you can still have visibility within your industry or your community by, being online? Like
Absolutely.
you never have to do because I feel like what we're talking about is more like of a traditional networking strategy, which I don't necessarily think is necessary.
And that's true. That's actually very, very true. Nowadays, is the traditional setup necessary? Yes and no. I say that because yes, we have made networking informal, almost to where, we are tapping into folks and everybody's a friend, right? Through our social networking. And I'm glad that you did bring that up, because there is an element of that. But there also are, when we're thinking about, and I'll just give an example. When I first applied for doctoral school, and I was beginning, we were beginning our fall term. And I actually, before I started, which made me put it on pause, I joined one of our career networks. And within the career network, they advised us to connect with a mentor. And so I reached out to like 6 different people. But it was it was formal. And I say that because you have both. You have the informal and you have the formal, right? And in this sense, I was tapping people I didn't know, right? People I was introduced to through the school. And these people came from all walks of life. And so I took a more formal approach to building my network because of the environment that I was in. And I think we have to be mindful. There are a couple different environments. You do have the informal, which I think we find through social networking, and you also have the formal. And so, I did the formal. I wrote letters, and I was able to establish a connection with one of the individuals. And then when I was connected with her, then she was like, you can call me anytime. You don't even have to schedule an appointment. So she helped to set the tone to make it informal. Right. And so now I have a mentor for when I actually do begin my program. And she was like, I'll be waiting on you. I was like, thank you. But that I took a formal approach to do. But so let's go into that, tapping into the social networking side. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I tell folks all the time, right now I'm in a season of stillness. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and really I picked up a gig to work remotely so that I can be with my little ones. But in this season, I didn't want to lose my skill set, in which I developed over 20 years. So amongst other reasons, I built this business. And I use this business to help me to stay current, to help me to stay relevant, to keep showing up so I don't just disappear into the abyss, right? And so within this environment, I'm constantly taking classes, and I'm actually being strategic about events that I attend that will permit me an opportunity to network but not overwhelm me, because time is of the essence. It's so important, and I need to optimize my time effectively to support and creating a helpful network. And so social networking sites are where we do it, right? So I'm part of it. I'm part of so many different groups, and it's very helpful because those groups really, even if you're not looking, someone is, right? Someone is searching, and it might spark your interest, or they may address and answer a question that you were thinking about but that you did not pose. So yeah, you definitely have the informal component that is very helpful through that. So social networking is a platform. I think other things that we have to be mindful of, and I think I alluded to this earlier, was uh, our network, or the ability to network. It doesn't always have to be formal. We can tap into folks like our friends and our family, right? Because I will tell you, and we'll talk about this, it's challenging to tap into folks you don't know, right? And so I think it's important that anytime we embark on a new endeavor, or we need access to acquire information or support, when you don't have that comfortability to just reach out to the unknown, start with who you know. Start first with who you know.
Which is why I kept in touch with my mentors along the way. I mean, I'm sorry, not mentors, but like when I was doing my clinical rotations, the people that own their clinics, like I wanted to keep in contact with them because they were providing me with such good information. Like I think I'm the type of practitioner I am today because of the mentorship that I had. Even if they knew, because there was really no formal relationship. There was really like no formal relationship. It was just it was kind of just understood that is what they would be for me.
Right. And that makes it easier, right? Like, I think when you're in school or you're within a working environment, I feel like networking is so much easier because I think folks know that, yes, we're there to work, but we're also there to be a resource to others, right? We're there to be a guide to others. And so I feel in those type of environments, it's just so much easier. But when you're not in it and you have to do it outside of being a part of something, it is so challenging. And so let me ask you, what are some challenges that you have in building a network?
So just like what I explained, like like the past 7 years, well, really the past 6, but I have not been able to connect because I'm a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
I currently don't get on social media. I never actually used social media. For me was more entertainment.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I never saw the utility in it as a networking. And so then once I'm finished with this phase of my life, I'll consider utilizing it as a networking opportunity because I will probably need that for my next ventures. But
I think about you and because I don't have any real estate, but I joined a real estate group, and I was like, Tiffany, you would benefit so much from this real estate group.
Probably would.
Yeah, they
but it's
talk
time
about
consuming. I feel like when you're joining things, I feel like don't take. You should be able to contribute. And I don't have enough time or energy to contribute at this time.
True, but contributing, they make it easy. Guess what? Click the like button. That's a contribution. And people, I swear, it's God is not
the like
people literally be like, did they like what I said? You know what I mean? And they literally
That's a good one.
You don't have to say nothing. Hit that like button. hit that care button and let your name be beside it. It's just as effective as saying something. So I think though, because of where you're at in your life, because social networking can take a great deal of time, because you start scrolling and then it becomes habitual. And you start to waste your time if you don't leverage social media constructively. And so you have to be very, very deliberate, very diligent. I'm only getting on here for 10 minutes. I am looking for this. And that's what you do. Because if you don't do that, I am so bad at this, you will be on there for an hour and not even realize it. Like, oh my God, an hour has just.
That's how I knew I needed to get off of social media, because I was on TikTok one day. Tisha introduced me to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on TikTok one day, and not introduced me, but she was like, "Girl, check this out," blah, 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 laughing, cracking up. And 2 hours later, I looked up and I said, 2 hours with this? Nah, this ain't for me. And I ain't never done it again.
And TikTok is the worst. I don't know, that algorithm that TikTok has, that sucks you in. I am telling you. I was like, oh no, I don't get on TikTok because it will suck me in for sure.
I'm not.
I can't do TikTok. That one.
And I'm really not into being sucked in. Leaders don't get sucked in.
Oh my gosh, it will suck you in. I don't do TikTok, but I like it. I really like it. But I was like, oh my God, that one can really get you. So you have to be very deliberate, very conscious about social media and how you leverage it. So I want to bring back up the areas that are challenging in building a network. And as I was doing research, one of the things that I kept reading was folks were stating that they felt like they were using people. And I understood where they came from, but I truly believe that we are all designed to be guides one to the other, and a part of who we are. It's really innate. We want to help each other, and I think that when we are thinking about building our network, we have to put that feeling of using someone, or feeling that we're using someone aside when we are in need of something, because the reality is a closed mouth doesn't get fed, right? However, so how do we help individuals combat that feeling? Because it really doesn't feel natural tapping into total strangers and asking for help. And I shared earlier, when I was in school or in a work environment, I really didn't have that feeling. But sometimes when you are out in the world and you're not a part of some sort of organization, it's difficult. You can struggle with building up the courage. And so I wanted to provide one tip, and I'm just going to give an example of something that just happened yesterday. You remember Ebony Webster? Is it Webster? Webster.
Yeah, Webster.
Webster from
How's she doing?
She's doing awesome. But let me tell you what happened yesterday. So I'm in the Whole Foods store, right? And I'm all the way at the other. I'm all the way at the other end. I can see her, right? And I turned and I was like, and I was like, I ain't got time for this. That's the first thing that went in my head. It's like, I'll see her later. Really, I'm going to see Ebony. Like, we walk in the same space, right? And so I was in the checkout at the self-checkout at the other end of the store. And something in me was like, Toya, this is how you have to build networks. This is how you have to build that comfortability with people, so that when you do need something, when you have to tap into a resource, it doesn't feel awkward. It doesn't feel like you're using people, right? And I think we have to be conscious of that. And I said to myself, Toya, you have to go, you have to speak. you have to put yourself out there and don't ever feel like you don't have time to spend 5 minutes to say hello to someone, right? So I picked up my basket and I walked all the way from where I was standing in line all the way to where she was, and I gave her a big hug. I mean, I hadn't seen her in a couple months. I feel like I see every couple months.
Oh, you see her often. Okay.
I run into her at the grocery store. Yeah. Well, I think she lives in Centerville, but anyways, I just happened to see her out here in Centerville. And so I was like, so excited to see her. Actually, when I got up to her, this energy came through me and I was like, oh, this feels so right. And so, I was like,
I always liked her.
I love her. Yeah, she's so freaking funny. Don't get on Facebook. But when you got time, get on Facebook and read some of her posts. She missed her calling. She truly is a comedian. Anyways, so, I gave her a hug and I just waited in line with her and I allowed the cashier to check me out versus because I tend to like to do self-checkouts. But I leveraged that opportunity. And then all of a sudden we started talking about my business. And she was like, oh, yeah, you do yoga, don't you? Where do you do it at? And I was like, I do it online. And I was telling her to go to my website. So a casual conversation.
Right.
Could just turned into an opportunity for business, right? And not that I was even intending to talk about my business, but she had brought it up. And then I gave her my card and I told her, hey, come check out some of my free classes because I offer them online. And so that's a tip, right? So if you struggle with looking at or finding an opportunity to build your network because it just doesn't feel authentic, you really have to put yourself out there so that when that moment comes, which it actually came as soon as I said hello, when that moment comes for you to share about your business idea or to seek advice or assistance, etc., it won't feel awkward, right? So that was just a very wonderful example that actually just happened. Okay. All right. So that's a challenging perspective. In building a network, talk to me a little bit about the areas you enjoy.
You said talk to you about the areas that I enjoy?
Yeah, that you enjoy when networking. Or in building one.
Well, so currently, in two ways, I'm trying to build, a network, like you said, with the real estate, the opportunity to work on our childhood home, due to the fire, trying to build my LLC through working on this home, so making it a part of my portfolio.
Okay.
So doing all of, it's been quite the challenge, but trying to do that. So that's one area that I really have enjoyed these past few years is the real estate. Another area, what I would really like to get back into is, and I was thinking about this at the gym, I was like, I was super competitive and I was actually more than decent. So like looking into like either bodybuilding, networking with some of the reps that come, well, not some of the reps, but one of the reps that comes. And I know a lot of reps because, they come into the clinic, with a new drug product or different products. But there's this one, like I see him all the time. And then like 1 month came and he was big as like just muscles, all muscle. Like he had took a total like 360, like changed his whole life in like a matter of like 4 to 5 months. Cause maybe I hadn't seen him in like 3 or 4 months anyway. So he's bodybuilding.
Okay.
I was thinking about like doing like something competitive like that because
awesome.
Yeah, like I want to compete. Like I want to go back into sports.
Okay.
Just kind of focus on me because I felt like I didn't get like I was trying to read stuff while I was fasting, but
Mm-hmm.
I think because the first time I did it, I was a little bit more tired.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was trying to hear spiritually, like I hear people say that they feel like they get, you know, a spiritual they get like a spiritual jump or
Message.
whatever, or message, yeah.
Mhm.
You know who Kevin Gates is?
You,
And
if
he's
you,
a
where would
rapper.
I have
He a
seen him?
rapper. He a rapper.
Oh no,
Okay.
probably not.
So anyway, so anyway, I was listening to him and he had fasted for like 42 days, but you know, he didn't spend time in prison. I think he may have converted Muslim because
Okay.
he said something like Hamdulillah. Uh,
Alhamdulillah.
what was it?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, he said that as a response when he was discussing with somebody about his journey, his fasting journey.
Okay.
Listening to him, and I was really wanting. So this week I wanted to try it again. I don't know if I will. I haven't made my mind up yet. But something keeps telling me like, you know, you didn't do basketball, and you know, you had such a passion for it. You know, so you know, you like competing. Just do, you know, do that because I'm just gonna focus and you know accept, you know, alone being
Mm-hmm.
so except being by myself.
Right.
Because you know, like my child is grown,
Right.
uh, and I want to, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So building a network. So he's probably going to be someone you tap into to see how you get into that particular industry, right?
yeah, and
Okay.
he don't want to tell me the secrets, but I know a couple of. I want to be more of a natural bodybuilder. I don't want to supplement really or do the diuretics or
Mhm.
like the binge eating.
Well,
Um,
they do on Facebook. There's lots of groups like vegan bodybuilding.
Vegan body.
Vegan bodybuilding. Yes, I can't do it. They eat too many grains. But I was like, I eat too many grains, too much soy. I can't. But vegan bodybuilding is probably something you'll probably want to look into because they use, and if it's not that you want to be vegan, but that it more natural so that you can
Right.
understand kind of how they do things naturally, right? Um, yeah, so
But
that's
yeah,
good. Yeah, so tapping into all these
so real
different
estate,
real
competing,
estate and
um,
bodybuilding competing. Okay.
the bodybuilding and maybe too even getting back into like financial management and doing that day trading.
Okay. Okay.
We'll
Very
see.
cool.
What about you?
Um, so for me, when I was thinking about this respective question, I think I already shared it with Ebby. When I when I network, Tiffany, and initially I'm always scared. I am. I have like all these butterflies going through my stomach. But once I do it, once I build up the courage and I engage someone, afterwards, I feel so enriched, so energized.
Because they
When
give you ideas.
yeah, they really do, or they give me confidence, right? That I can do it.
Mhm.
That
Agree with that.
that, but it's just a matter of what does Nike say? Just do it.
Right.
I mean, there's really no process other than just do it. You know, when I saw Evie, I was like, just do it. Go down there and say hello. You're going to spend 5 minutes to say hello. And after, you're going to be enriched. And I truly was enriched in that instance. When I started my grad program, my doctoral program,
Hmm.
and it was funny because um, one of the counselors from the Career Network Center, she was like, "Yes, I'm calling you to schedule an appointment with a mentor, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, I already have a mentor, you know?" And she was like, okay, you're already connected. I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I connected before the program started." And she was like, okay, who's the person? So I told her, and she was like, oh, all right. So then they just matched us. And I just did it. I didn't wait. I reached out and I allowed myself. I think that's another thing. We don't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable, right? But yeah, initially it's going to be uncomfortable.
That
Initially,
is true. We don't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable.
yeah, to have those feelings. And who do we
It's
talk about?
kind of
What's
like
that
with
with
food. It's kind
Brianna?
of like the same with food. That's the reason why people don't stop
Mhm.
eating.
We don't allow ourselves to feel that we have fulfilled that need for hunger. But remember when we were talking about, I think with Brianna Weist, her book, the Mountain Is You. I think she
The
talked
mountain is
about,
you. Mhm.
yeah, about the fact that we have to allow ourselves to go through our emotional roller coaster that we go through. It's
Mhm.
natural, right? This is natural. These are things that we are going to feel, and it's just a matter of us doing it. And the more that you do it, the more comfortable it will become.
Mhm.
You wonder about those people who are just career networkologists, right? Like these folks can be in any environment and they are not flies on the wall. What are wildflowers, right? They
Yeah.
are they are just out gabbing with everyone, and you just wonder how they did it, right? But the reality is they started somewhere, just like us, just like folks who begin in this networking environment. We all got to start somewhere. But the more that we're intentional about it, the more that we do it, the more comfortable it will become. Nothing is easy at first, right? All right, folks. Guess what? That's a wrap. Before we head out, we are lovers of music. And guess what? We are closing out this year. I'm gonna let Tiffany share hers first because she's gonna
I
have to
don't want to
explain
share
hers.
mine.
You don't want to share yours? You
No,
know? Okay. So what?
you can listen. We can close out with yours, and then next year I am coming with. I'm gonna come with so much fire. That's so cliche. I want
No,
to
it's not. You coming with the fire. Just say it, and that's all right.
to I want to contribute a lot more. I feel like in lately, thinking about, the past year, like
Mhm.
I haven't been able to execute. And do you get to a point in your life and all of your goals and dreams trying to achieve these things? Do you get to a point where you're not going to be able to do that anymore? Or you're not gonna want to do that?
Well, if you're talking about yourself, I can't even ever imagine that with yourself, right? Because you've always had goals, dreams, aspirations that you've always executed and wanted to execute. Even right now, you just said, oh, I saw someone, I think I want to go into bodybuilding. I think we just naturally, as people, are always going to have something that we aspire to do, right? And it's our job that once we have that um message, and some will call it a spiritual message. I look at everything spiritually. Anytime I get a message, I feel like that's my universe speaking to me. So I look at everything spiritual, and I feel like it's something, some things you would, leveraging discernment, you would act on. Some things you act on now, some things you act on in the future. You jot it down and say, okay, this is probably something I need to do in the future. Can't do it now, but it's probably going to be something I do in the future. But I think that we just all have that ability. Some of us can hear, some of us cannot hear. But it's our job to listen, to have that moment of stillness, to fast, to see or to listen for the word. And when it comes, if you feel like it's something you can do now, start. If it feels like it's something that's going to be in your future, jot it down and prepare for it for your future. No, I don't. I personally, I think the way that you're designed, the way that I'm designed, to go back to your question, I don't think that there will ever be anything that we will not have that we will want to act on. There is always going to be something in our lives. I think it's always going to be something. And this year you felt like you didn't bring the fire, but you did. You know, you brought the fire in the manner that you had the energy to do because you're tapped. And you have to realize that. You have to realize that, hey, I'm in doctoral school. This takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time. And not only am I in doctoral school, I've got like 6 properties I'm managing. This takes a lot of energy. And not only that, I've got a daughter who is in college, working out of college, you know, going through her trials and needing guidance. And when you are tapped in those different areas, give yourself some grace, girl. Give yourself grace. Yeah. Give yourself grace and know that you are doing the best that you can do. And it was a gift that I got in me because I saw all that podcasting equipment you had at your house. I was like, I know she wants to do this. Who buys all this podcasting equipment and then don't use it?
Well, that stuff actually was for me. That stuff was actually for me to do my singing.
Oh, was it for singing? But it was podcasting. I think you told me though you was doing.
It was, but I was gonna be singing.
Oh, on your podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? I actually built in to the program an opportunity for you to do that at the end of every episode. I didn't know that, Tiffany. But did you see
the bigger microphone and it sits on a stand and it comes towards you?
No, I just saw all the podcast and I was like, why you got all this podcast and stuff?
And
you were like, oh, I was gonna do a podcast. And I was like, okay, it's 2020. All right, it's 2021. She still ain't did it. I want to know what her podcast gonna be. All right, it's 2022. Let me go ahead and help her out. You know, but think about the gift. No, but I think about how God puts into our lives individuals who are designed to give us that push. All right. We have these individuals, and I call a God, I told you how I define God, guides of destiny. We have these individuals that are put into our lives to help inspire us, to help get us moving. And as a guide for you, it was to help get you give you that push so that you can, even if you came to me and was like, man, that was really good. We had a great year, Toya. This is the direction I want to go. And you decided to go solo. I was put in your life to help give you the courage, to help give you the knowledge. And if that's the direction you wanted to go, so be it. And I will go my direction, right? I mean, I
like this book thing. I like doing this format.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it as well. But I just think we have to be very cognizant of, you know, the gifts that are given to us, whether it be in the form of natural.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, natural gifts, or the people that are placed in our lives to help inspire us. I really believe, you know, I've had people placed in my life who said, girl, you can own your business. You can own like multiple businesses. You got this, you know. And had I not had individuals come into my life and believe in me in that manner, I don't know if I would have naturally had that inclination to pursue what I'm doing today.
Right.
Right. And so it's just so important that we keep our eyes open, our ears open, learn to listen, learn to be guided appropriately, leveraging discernment, because just because someone is talking to you, just because some folks don't know how to guide appropriately, they need not guide. I'd be like, you need to go to school for what you're doing, because you do not know what you're doing. But I think it's so important that, we be more receptive to that. We learn to fast so that we can, especially when you are, because you and we just went through, I did it 2 times. I think, are you going through your second round right now?
Well, I'm gonna try.
You're going to try and go through, but, taking that pause, not only from a pause from social media, a pause from a health perspective, so that we can hear better, because we get so weighted down with all of the things in the world that's always pulling us in multiple directions. So it's very important. But anyways, that was a very long response and an answer to what you had shared, but I just thought it was so important to provide that bit of advice. You brought the fire for this year, and I hope you are excited, happy, proud of yourself for being able to commit and allowing us to see this into fruition and completion. All right. So, getting back to our song choice for our last episode of 2022 to 2023. Before we head out, as I shared, we are lovers of music, and we are closing out this year with an oldie but goodie from 1985, written by Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie, produced by, now let me stop, We Are the World. All right. And this particular song, I chose this song. I don't even know where it came from, but it's the song From USA to Africa. Okay. It's a song that helped me to realize how we all impact one another around the world. And in this song, I'm just going to read the first verse, but this is what networking is. There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying, and it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone else, somewhere soon, make a change, because we are all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make
a better place.
Yeah, sing it, because I can't play it.
They try to block everything.
I'm telling you.
They'll be like, she sang that, and did you have permission?
Yeah, but we are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. I love this. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. And it's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. Right. And that's what I think about when we talk about networking, when we talk about serving as a guide. It is so important that we realize our role in this and guide appropriately. I tell folks this all the time. We can do bad all by ourselves. We don't need nobody's help to do bad. And in that, we should learn how to guide appropriately, how to network and be a resource one to the other so that we as a country, as a world, can be more progressive. All right. October is fast approaching and our new season will begin. Stay tuned as we bring to you insight, dropping that knowledge and all of these pearls of wisdom so that you can take a more proactive approach to creating the best versions of you. All right, folks, if you have any questions, want to learn more about the speakers, or to access all replays, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Proactive is the way, my friends. Take good care.